welcome back. I'm in the greenhouse this morning. Got a few things to plant. I'm here by myself this morning. First thing we're going to plant is eggplant, and I do one planting of eggplant and it produces all the way through the season every year. There's really no need to plant multiple plantings for me. When we get ready to clean up at the end of the summer, I still got eggplant everywhere, so it always does real well for me. The variety is Night Shadow. It's just a standard teardrop purple bell shaped eggplant. And the seed are tiny. That's what they look like. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put all the seed here in my little blue container. I think I've mentioned on a previous year's video, eggplant is probably the least, or the crop that gives me the least problems. And I don't plant very much of it. Maybe if I planted more of it, it would, but very rarely do we ever have an issue with the eggplant. And like I mentioned, we always have lots of it, even at the end when we're getting ready to terminate it all. I don't sell that much of it. It's something that I like to have. Sell a little bit of it wholesale. Most of it we sell retail. Okay, we're just going to drop one seed in here at a time. Only plant about 300 seeds, so only need about 4 flats. And believe it or not, those 4 flats will make all the eggplant that I want. I do like growing in the greenhouse. You know, I enjoy growing the transplants, and it's nice to be in a controlled environment. And it's nice to, when it's cool or cold outside, to come in here when it's warm and see my little plants growing. So I do enjoy that. All right, well, that'll wrap that up. All right, that wraps up the eggplant. Put my tag in there. As you can see on the heating tables, we've taken all the little tomato plants off once they came up. So now we'll start putting the peppers and the eggplant on the table. We've already planted our first watermelons, and these are the tomatoes that I took off the heating table. I'm gonna try something a little bit different this year. You see how I've skipped every other one. Sometimes when we pack them all in there together, they want to get a little bit lanky, so I'm gonna see if it makes any difference. It's not gonna hurt them if it doesn't. I just thought I would try it. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing with the bell pepper. I do plant 2 plantings of bell pepper in the field, so this will be the first of 2. And the variety is Boca, and it is a spotted wilt resistant variety, which is something that I have to have. Maybe you've heard me talk about that on the tomatoes. I have to have it on the tomatoes as well. Tomatoes and bell peppers are in the same family, so we get the spotted wilt variety resistant, and it makes a difference. 600 or so plants we'll plant on the first round, so we'll do that twice. Bell peppers or something that we do sell more of than we do the eggplant, but it's not a huge seller for us. So we sell some wholesale, but we sell a lot of them, the majority of them retail. The seed on the bell pepper is a little bit bigger than the eggplant. Okay, we finished the bell pepper. I usually allow about 10 days for the flats here to stay on the heat table. Later on, if the outside temperature is a little warmer, that might go down to about 7, but I usually allow for about 10. It seems like the peppers and eggplant take a little bit longer on the table than the tomatoes. We will get some water on these flats that I've just planted and they'll be on their way. I haven't mentioned lately anything about the peaches. We are still pruning the peach trees, but we are almost finished. Every year I say we should have started a week earlier. But the thing is, you don't ever know how many days you're gonna miss because of the weather. And we've missed probably more than we usually do. The good thing is they're just barely trying to bloom. Some of them, 95% of them are not yet. So hopefully we can knock it out in the next couple of days. But I want to take you down to the peach orchard and show you around a little bit. Okay, the number one question I get asked in the wintertime about the farm from either my family or people that know me or see me is, how many hours you got on your peaches? What that means is, how many cold hours have we gotten? Chill hours. So it's never just a simple answer. I use a website that monitors that for me. Now, in the past, I've used different websites that have, for whatever reason, quit doing it. This one seems to be pretty accurate, but it only measures the hours between 32 and 45. A chill hour is under 45 degrees. So this year we were at the end of February around 830 or 40 hours between 32 and 45. And we had a good bit under 32, which I feel like needs to be counted. But I really look at the chill portions more than I look at the chill hours. I've explained that a little bit before, and I'm not going to go into all of it, and I don't even understand all of it. But basically it factors in hours above 45 that you get some credit for, and hours under 32 that you get credit for. And also it factors in the warm weather and gives you like a discount and a negative impact. And so what it does is it puts together a number, not necessarily a number of hours. And I feel comfortable if I can get over 50 chill portions. This year we were ending February with between 53 and 54. Very similar to what we had 2 years ago. which we made a good crop there. So it's not an exact science. People want to know a number, how many hours you got. And different varieties take different hours. The ones I have are between 750 and 1,000. So, but I feel comfortable that we've had enough this year. Last year was the most we've ever had, and it's also the best crop we've ever had. So I don't know if that's exactly correlates. I know that it was a big factor. So we'll see, but the peaches are getting ready to start blooming here pretty soon. Okay, we want to keep the tree height. We've cut them off, not too terribly tall. And we pile up the limbs between every other tree, and we'll come back and pick them up. This is a lot of limbs there just off of 2 trees. Most of them are probably 3 to 5 foot long, so we've cut that much off the top. We've also pruned a lot of the dead wood in the middles, that are little stuff that's not doing anything. Here's one of my earlier blooming ones. You can see how they are just about to pop open right there. You know, the trees are generally like a upside down umbrella, and then it's got a bunch of stuff coming off of it. So the trees are not exactly the same. We probably leave more in the middle than we should. And there's not an exact way to do it, and that's the only way to do it. But every tree looks a little bit different. All right, these buds right here are going to be your fruit. This is your new growth from last year, which forms your buds, which makes your blooms, which makes your peaches. As soon as we get through pruning, we'll come back and pick up all these piles and haul them off. And then we'll start putting out fertilizer. I can't sling out my fertilizer dry till we get all these limbs picked up, because I don't want to land it on top of all that. And then we'll come back pretty soon too, because it's warming up, and spray underneath the trees with herbicide. See the height on that tree? This is on some of the trees that we have not done yet. And compare that to this, where we've taken out the tops. Well, that's just a quick run through and an update of what it looks like in the peach orchard. Hopefully we can get through here in a couple of days and move on to something else, because we've got plenty to do. Okay, fast forward a couple of days. I had to wait until it dried up. When we finished the last video, I was waiting on a rain, and we got it the next day. And right about the time it was gonna be dry, it rained again. So I'm just now getting my liquid fertilizer out. That's what I'm about to do on those plastic beds. And we won't have to do anything after that until it's time to lay the plastic. So I'm gonna pump my liquid fertilizer from my nurse tank into my applicator, and then we'll head to the field. bit in the nurse tank before I pump it in my applicator. This is my fertilizer applicator. It's a 500-gallon tank, and this used to be like an 8-row applicator. Years ago I got it, took the wings off, took everything off, and put on these 2 coulters in the back, and I use it primarily just for this, to put out pre-plant liquid fertilizer. So the plastic bed will be here, and you'll get 2 knives going in the same row, and then it pumps the fertilizer out, and it comes out right here, but it's going to be buried in the bed, so when we get to the field you're not going to be able to see it running out. And these coulters here turn, obviously. Got the setting here, and I have it calibrated to put out so many gallons per 1,000 feet is how I have it figured. My applicator tank is actually 525 gallons, so we filled it up exactly to the 500-gallon mark. My linear feet in my plastic field is almost the same every year, so I have this applicator here figured on pretty much, can get pretty close to the number of gallons that I need. And just a reminder, we're putting out the N and the P, nitrogen and the phosphorus liquid, into the beds pre-plant. The potash has already been spread dry, broadcast, and then throughout the season we will supplement with more nitrogen through the drip tape. But the phosphorus, this will be the entire amount of phosphorus that we put out for the season. I'm going to try to get it set and make a couple of rounds, and then we'll show you here what it looks like. Okay, that's the depth that we're putting the fertilizer in, so it's, you know, maybe about 6 inches down in there, and doing it on kind of both sides of the middle. You can look back and see the trench there in my bed. Now remember, this is just a preliminary bed, plus it's been rained on and settled a little bit. We're gonna fluff it up and make it really nice and big and tall and loose and wide, but this fertilizer will be down in there and it's not going anywhere. See how you can see the fertilizer dripping on the ground when I picked it up at the end of the row? Hopefully you can see that, but that lets me know that everything is working right, because I cannot see those knives and coulters because they're directly behind my tank. Now, even if they were sticking to the outside, I could not see if they were pumping because they would be in the dirt. But when I pick them up, you know, that's kind of when you can see it. If for some reason one of them is stopped up, then when I pick up and turn around, I can see it. benefit of having the guidance is I can put this fertilizer exactly in the middle, and you can see where we offset both sides of the middle, so that way you're not weaving and trying to stay straddled over a little mark all day. So that's a nice asset to have when you're doing this. Well, the tank behind me is empty and we got all that knocked out. So we're gonna see what the weather does. We got rain tonight, possibly in a couple more days. Right now the forecast looks pretty good for the following week. So as soon as the conditions are right, we're gonna get the plastic laid. And also got to get my sweet corn planted, my first planting of that. Probably do that before we lay the plastic. And got plenty more to do. We're just about through picking up the peach limbs, so I got to get my peaches fertilized. And before you know it, we're running and doing and going as fast as we can. So anyway, subscribe to us if you have not. And until then, see y'all next time.